Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Narayanam Namaskrityam
Narayanam Namaskrityam
Naranjaiva Narottamam
Naranjaiva Narottamam
Devim
Sevaya
Bhagavate Uttamasloke
Bhagavate Uttamasloke
Bhaktin Bhavatir Naistiti
Bhaktin Bhavanestiti
Krishnaya Vasudevaya
Krishnaya Vasudevaya
Devaki Nandanaya Cha
Devaki Nandanaya Cha
Nandagopa Kumaraya
Nandagopa Kumaraya
Govindaya Namo Namaha
Govindaya Namo Namaha.
Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Krishnaya Bhakti Srimad Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharne Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Rasha Deshatarne Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Welcome all the devotees for the morning Srimad Bagavatam class. Today we are going to discuss Canto 1, Chapter 15, text number 31. The Pandavas retired timely. The chapter name, Pandavas retired timely. This is the continuation of the previous class. Canto 1, Chapter 15, text number 31. Please repeat behind me. Visoko Brahma Sambhatya
Visoko Brahma Sampatya
Sanchina Daiva Samsayaha
Sanchina Daita Samsaya
Lina Prakriti Nargunyat
Lina Prakriti Naigunyat
Alangatvat Asambhavaha
Alingatvat Asambhavaha
Visako Brahma Sambhatya
Visoko Brahma Sampatya
Sanchina Dvaita Samsayaha
Sanchina Daita Samsaya
Lina Prakriti Naigunyat
Lina Prakriti Naigunyat
Alingatvat Asambhavaha
Alingatvat Asambhavaha
Visako Brahma Sambhatya
Visako Brahma Sampatya
Sanchina Dvaita Samsayaha
Sanchina Daita Samsaya
Lina Prakriti Naigunyat
Lina Prakriti Naigunyat
Alingatvat Asambhavaha.
Alingatvat Asambhavaha.
Word by word meaning. Vishaka,
Vishaka,
free from bereavement.
free from bereavement.
Brahma Sambhatya,
Brahma Sampatya,
by possession of spiritual assets.
by possession of spiritual assets.
Sanchina,
Sanchina,
being completely cut off.
being completely cut off.
Dvaita Samsayaha,
Dvaita Samsayaha,
from the doubts of relativity.
from the doubts of relativity.
Lina,
Lina,
merged in.
merged in.
Prakriti,
Prakriti,
material nature.
material nature.
Nairgunyat,
Nairgunyat,
due to being in transcendence.
due to being in residence.
Alingatvat,
Alingatvat,
because of being devoid of a material body.
a material body.
Asambhavaha,
Asambhavaha,
free from birth and death.
free from birth and death.
Translation and purport by His Living Sabaya Charna Vrisi Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Please repeat behind me. Translation. Because of his possessing spiritual assets, the doubts of duality were completely cut off. Thus, he was freed from the three modes of material nature and placed in transcendence. There was no longer any chance of his becoming entangled in birth and death. For he was freed from material form. Purport. Doubts of duality begin from the misconception of the material body, which is accepted as the self by less intelligent person. The most foolish part of our ignorance is our identifying this material body with the self. Everything in relation with the body is ignorantly accepted as our own. Doubts due to misconception of myself and mine, in other words, my body, my relatives, my property, my wife, my children, my wealth, my country, my community, and hundreds and thousands of similar illusory contemplations caused bewilderment from the conditioned soul. By assimilating the instructions of the Bhagavad Gita, one is sure to be released from such bewilderment, because real knowledge is knowledge that the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vasudeva, Lord Krishna, is everything, including oneself. Everything is a manifestation of his potency as part and parcel. The potency and the potent are non-different. So the conception of duality is at once mitigated by the attainment of perfect knowledge. As soon as Arjuna took up the instructions of the Bhagavad Gita, expert as he was, he could at once eradicate the material conception of Lord Krishna, his eternal friend. He could realize that the Lord was still present before him by his instruction, by his form, by his pastimes, by his qualities, and everything else related to him. He could realize that Lord Krishna, his friend, was still present before him by his transcendental presence in different non-dual energies, and there was no question of attainment of the association of the Lord by another change of body under the influence of time and space. By attainment of absolute knowledge, one can be in association with the Lord constantly, even in this present life. Simply by hearing, chanting, thinking of, and worshipping the Supreme Lord, one can see him, one can feel his presence, even in this present life, simply by understanding the Advaya Jnana Lord, or the Absolute Truth, through the process of devotional service, which begins with hearing about him. Lord Chaitanya says that simply by chanting the holy name of the Lord, one can at once wash off the dust of the mirror of pure consciousness. And as soon as the dust is removed, one is at once freed from all material contamination. To become free from material contaminations means to liberate the soul. As soon as one is therefore situated in absolute knowledge, his material consumption of life is removed, or he emerges from a false conception of life. Thus, the function of the pure soul is revived in spiritual realization. This practical realization of the living being is made possible due to his becoming free from the reaction of three modes of material nature, namely goodness, passion, and ignorance. By the grace of the Lord, a pure devotee is at once raised to the place of absolute, and there is no chance of the devotees becoming materially entangled again in conditioned life. One is not able to feel the presence of the Lord in all circumstances until one is endowed with the required transcendental vision made possible by devotional service prescribed in the revealed scriptures. Arjuna had attained this stage long before on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, and when he appeared, felt the absence of the Lord, he at once took shelter of the instructions of the Bhagavad Gita, and thus again he was placed in his original position. This is the position of Vishoka, or the stage of being freed from all grief and anxieties. Hare Krishna. So, this sloka 1.15.31, it is the continuation of yesterday's discussion. So yesterday we discussed that Arjuna, what we discussed, anyone can understand tell me that point, what we discussed yesterday? What we discussed yesterday? What are the essence? So it was appeared that Arjuna forgot the instruction, he remembered the Bhagavad Gita again, the battle. He is not in the battlefield, he is in the another situation. When he is not able to see Krishna and he came back from Dwarka. So sad in that situation. So he was lamenting. So he lost Krishna, he unable to save the Krishna's wives. So all those he is lamenting. So then again, what happened? Why we are lamenting in this world? Because we don't know our identity, because of that we are lamenting. So Arjuna was also put in that situation. But in this time, earlier the first time, when he was lamenting in the battlefield, that time he remembered the Lord. Then Lord gave the instruction directly. Now Lord is not in the present, in front of him, Lord is not there. But Lord is present in front of him in the form of Bhagavad Gita, the knowledge, whatever Lord gave. He could be able to recollect those knowledge. So, when the battlefield, Arjuna was in the identity crisis. We can say that identity crisis, English identity crisis. Pehchan nahi hai in Hindi. Okay. What is meant by identity crisis? What is the identity crisis here? Arjuna had. First, he forgot he is a Kshatriya. So Kshatriya's dharma is to fight. So he forgot Kshatriya's quality. That is his identity. Kshatriya is his identity. He forgot that. And again, he was misconception. He falsely identified himself as a body. For that reason is only he is identified the other persons, the relatives, friends. He is my guru and he is my grandfather. So this is the identity crisis, the false identity. So we also having that identity, false identity with the material designations, right? So I am the husband, I am the wife, I am the father, I am the uncle. These are the material identities. I am the manager. In the companies, I am the manager. So there are so many identities we have. This is my country, this is my city, this is my place, and this is the whatever overall, this is my relatives, this is my friends, this is my enemies.
My farm is my house.
So everything. So all our whatever we are thinking, these are all the false identities. So for the false identity, Lord gave the instruction. What is the basic instruction gave? These are the false identities are there. Arjuna identified himself with all the false identities. We also having all those false identities. The first instruction Lord gave him, you are not this body. That is the higher philosophical knowledge Krishna gave to Arjuna. So topmost knowledge is giving. But it is a very basic knowledge. You are not this body. You are beyond all those misconceptions. You are just a soul. That's a knowledge he gave. So in the current situation, people are who are outside, not connected with ISKCON, not interested in the scriptures. People used to say that Bhagavad Gita, it is 5,000 years back told, or somebody speak, somebody wrote. All those misconceptions is there. How it will be applicable in now the current situation, the present society? Because they are the misconception. They don't know what is there in Bhagavad Gita. In Manu Samskriti, it is said that if a person, they will take this kind of arguments. In the Manu Samskriti, it is said that the husband died, immediately the wife need to die along with him, and in the same Sati, Sati is called as Sati. Yeah, immediately she also need to die along with him, burn in the same fire. So it is said there in Manu Samskriti. But people don't know, they never read Manu Samskriti also, but they will blame the scriptures. How they will blame? Manu Samskriti, it is written. It is one of the point, but further also it is written. It is based on the women's desire. If they wanted, they can't live without the husband, they can do. And there is a exception also. If they have the kids, they should not, because they need to take care of the kids. They should not do that. So all these points are there, but people won't read all those things. They won't read. They never read also. They never read that, but they will take out the first point. They will say that it is written. Your scripture is saying this. They are not completely. They won't read, but they will read only one of the point. They will catch one of it, which is favor to them. So then they will keep that mind. They say, okay, all the scriptures are. It's a kind of theories. Somebody during that time it was applicable. Now it is not applicable. So we are now modern. So we are we are advanced society. So we can't it won't be applicable for the present society. That is the conception of the people. But the Bhagavad Gita knowledge, it is absolute truth. It's come from the absolute truth. So it is always, it will be. Even the 5,000 years back also, it was applicable. In the current society also, it will be applicable. In future also it will be applicable. Why we are calling it as a absolute truth?
Spoken by Bhagavan himself.
Okay. Why it is absolute? See, you can say there is a truth. Why we are saying absolute truth?
Absolute truth means behind that there is no other truth. There is a
What is the difference between absolute truth and truth?
absolute truth. Nothing is there behind that truth.
Absolute truth, if you want to detailedly understand, we are that, and if you take ourselves, maybe some 100 years back, we may in a different body, right? So we can say that time we were not there. This identity is not there, right? Anjaneya Prabhu, this identity was not there 100 years back. So Anjaneya Prabhu is currently he is there in front of me. So I will say that this is the truth now. He is Anjaneya Prabhu. It's a truth, only truth. But 50 years back, it was not a truth. He was not there, no more.
He was Maharasena.
So after 50 100 years, even we will be no more. So after 50 years, we can say that he is Anjaneya Prabhu. He won't be there, right? So for example, this building they may constructed some 10 years back. So before 10 years, something else was there here. So currently this building is there. This is truth. We will say, okay, currently building is there. This is truth. But it was not a truth in the past. 10 years back, it was not a truth. This building was not there. And we don't know after some years, this building will be there or not, we don't know. So at that time, this current truth, it may not be a truth in the future also. So the truth means what is present, that is truth. Which is present, past, in the past also it is a truth, present also it is a truth, and the future also it is a truth.
Which is eternal.
That is called absolute truth.
Which is eternal.
It is eternal. So that is the difference between truth and absolute truth. So what Lord says in Bhagavad Gita, it is a truth. It is not just a truth, it is an absolute truth. It was applicable for past, present and future. Any time it will be, any age it is applicable. Because that's the reason Krishna himself is saying in Bhagavad Gita, the 4th chapter, the same knowledge he was given to sun god Vivaswan millions of years back. So in millions of years back also same knowledge was applicable, and present 5000 years back also it was applicable.
Now
present situation also it is applicable. In future generation also it is going to be applicable. So that's why it is called absolute truth. So Bhagavad Gita, it is an absolute truth. So why Arjuna remembered the Bhagavad Gita? He could have remembered something else, right? Why he remembered Bhagavad Gita? Because he was in the situation of stress and lamentation. So when we are in the negative mode, stress and lamentation, in that situation, if you remember the instructions of the Lord's pastimes, Lord form, anything connected with the Lord, immediately you can get out of from the situation. That is he proved that. Arjuna proved that. He was lamenting that time, and when he remembered the instruction of Bhagavad Gita, immediately he came out from the situation. Then he's in the spiritual platform. He was in the material platform. He is talking about all the material things. Then once he recollect the instruction, all the instructions, the Lord's instructions, Bhagavad Gita, then he went to the spiritual platform. So that is the power of the scriptures, understanding the scriptures and listening the scriptures and applying the scriptures. So it is very powerful. We should not hear the scriptures as a news. Okay. Suppose there is an accident happen here. Immediately the WhatsApp message is coming, there is an accident happened in the Gaudiya circle. So what we will see, okay, there is an accident. Okay.
It's a news.
It's a news for us. If anything, are we learning from something, learning from that, or are you really feeling something, are you going to react on something, are you going to get from something? It is just a news. You will hear and you will leave it. And if somebody else coming, you will tell that, that's all. It is not going to useful for your life. But if you take a lesson from that, okay, Gaudiya circle, the signal was not working, so we need to be cautious to cross the road, yes, accident happened. So you need to keep it in mind that, okay, that knowledge we need to take. Just to take instead of taking the as a news, we need to apply in our life. That knowledge we need to take from that. So that is useful for that knowledge is useful. Otherwise, it will be just
News.
a news. So Bhagavad Gita is not only Bhagavad Gita. Any scriptures we are discussing in our temple, any scriptures, Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bagavatam or Chaitanya Charitamrita, anything we are discussing, it is not just a news. We should not hear as just a news. We need to apply, we need to understand, grasp the things fully in the erect knowledge, means the erect way. When we erect attention, we can say rapt attention. But Prabhupada used to say rapt attention. Whatever you are hearing, you should be in the rapt attention. See, if there is when initially the corona happened, what will be then? You are seeing the news in the rapt attention. How to prevent.
We are not coming out at all.
We are not coming at all. See, that is the act of attention. Okay, we are afraid of going out, seeing the neighbor also. So that is that attention, because we are afraid of our life. So because we are always in the thread. In this material world, our life is always in thread. Any step, anything can happen. At any moment, anything can happen to us. It is not like that we will be living until 80, 90 years. It's not like that. There is no guarantee for that. Any step, any moment, anything can happen. So we need to be in the rapt attention always. Always. That's the reason. Always we need to remember Krishna. So how we can remember Krishna? How we will remember Krishna?
Associating devotees listening to pastime.
Yeah, he is listening about Krishna. Chanting Krishna, taking the name of the Krishna and association with the devotees. There are many things are available, but it is very limited. In this material world, it is very limited. Even though it is vastly available, but people are not interested in it. But whoever understand, whoever just try to follow that, we need to give more attention towards that. Because it is not like we discussed, it is not just a news. Whatever we are discussing, it is not just a news. Okay. So by understanding this knowledge, Arjuna came out from the duality. That's what this sloka is saying. Prabhupada is explaining, he came out from the duality. So how he came from the duality?
By remembering the Lord instructions.
By remembering the Lord instructions, he came out from the duality. So the scriptural knowledge, whatever we are discussing, whatever we are hearing, whatever we are reading, whatever we are studying, that knowledge will take us from the material platform to the spiritual platform. So we also need to understand in the same way, or whatever the acharyas explaining in the same way that we discussed yesterday. Whatever acharya is saying, we need to take it in the same way. So then that knowledge will be useful for us. So it is the Bhagavatam, whatever the Bhagavatam, we will call it as Kathamritam. Bhagavata Kathamritam. See, when Sukadeva Goswami disclosing that when he was trying to give the Srimad Bagavatam, when he was sitting for the Bhagavatam, Parikshit Maharaj is about to hear. All the rishis, everywhere he came, and including the Devi Devatas also came, demigods also came that. All the rishis, they came with a kamandalu. Usually the rishis have the kamandalu. The Devi Devatas, they came with a big pot. Why they came with the big pot? The pot, they brought nectar. Devi Devatas, they have nectar. They bought the nectar so that they will give it to Parikshit Maharaj, so that his life will be extended. But Parikshit Maharaj not accepting the nectar. Parikshit Maharaj accepted the nectar. Which nectar? Bhagavatam nectar. Kathamritam. Instead of the Amrita from the Vidhi, if he took the Amrita from the Devadas, that will extend his life only. But whatever the Amrita, he took the Kathamrita, Bhagavata Kathamrita, that it take him from the material platform to the spiritual world. So that much potency there. So he took that nectar. So we also need to be in that kind of way. We need to hear from the sources, right sources. The Bhagavatam, wherever the class is happening, at least we will get some point from that. So we need to be in the attention. We need to hear. Whoever is taking classes in our center, not outside. From the right source. You need to hear from the right sources first. authorized sources, and whoever is taking the classes, at least, even though if you are not knowing, understanding, not able to understand the language, you can at least you can sit and hear that. But since we are talking about only the spiritual things, automatically you will the understanding will happen internally. Even though you are not able to grasp it completely, but somewhat you can get, even though in any other language if you speak also. So that is the power of the spirituality. If you are Lord, we are in front of the Lord, we are also playing. You are playing in the Telugu. I am playing in Tamil. Prabhu playing in Hindi. Russian is playing in Russian language. So many languages people are speaking because here speaking to the Lord. How Lord is understanding that? Because everything written by Him, so He is understanding. So when immediately we will say that we don't know there are other languages, so we can understand. Right? But the spiritual thing, if you sit and hear, even though you cannot understand, not able to understand, that will the attention you are sitting and hearing, that will make you understand that. Automatically you will get the understanding. So it will take you into the material platform to spiritual platform. In that 2.40, what is this 2.40 slogan? Neha Vikramana Sosti Pratyavayo na vidyate Solpam Abhiyasya Dharmasya Trayato Magato Bhayat. That means, even though you are getting little knowledge day by day, even though if you are doing little spiritual activity means everything is spiritual activity. Hearing about Lord also spiritual activity, and hearing also, and whatever we are speaking, that is also spirituality, chanting also spirituality, everything is spiritual. Whatever the things connected with the Lord, everything is spiritual. So, even though we are hearing a little bit, if you are getting one point, whatever the speaker is speaking, the speaker will speak 1 hour, 1.5 hours, the class will happen. Even the 1.5 hours, you are unable to remember everything. There must be one single sentence that may change our life. So we always need to, in the rapt attention, need to hear the classes. And also, whatever the classes we are discussing is the topmost knowledge. Okay. See, in our parampara, we are always stressing to learn, to study 3 scriptures. What are those scriptures? Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bagavatam, Chaitanya. So Prabhupada used to say Bhagavad Gita is a school study, and Srimad Bagavatam is the college study, and Chaitanya Charitamrita is the postgraduate study. So why he is categorized like that? Because in Bhagavad Gita you will learn from the basic ABCs, like we are not the body, we are the soul, and what to eat, what not to eat. All the knowledge Krishna gave, the basic studies. And Bhagavatam, it's about Lord Himself. Okay, getting up the Lord Himself. Lord activities, pastimes, everything. So it is a college study. And Chaitanya Charitamrita, how to love the Lord, how the other devotees love the Lord. That is about prema. So if you study Bhagavad Gita, it will start from what is soul. It will start from that. And what is the conclusion of Bhagavad Gita? What is the conclusion? In the last sloka, it will say, wherever Krishna, wherever Arjuna, Yatra Yogeshwara. So, that is what is the meaning of that? Victory is there where Krishna and Arjuna is there. Victory is also there. So, we are starting with Atmayan, what is our soul, and we are ending with, okay, Krishna is the Supreme Lord, we need to surrender to Him. So, that is the Bhagavad Gita. Starting with soul and identification, and ending with identification of the Supreme Soul. So, that is the basic knowledge. That's why it is called as primary study, school study. Prabhupada calling it as a school study. What is Bhagavatam? Bhagavatam starting with, what is the starting of Bhagavatam? First starting itself, it is the first starting. What is the first slogan? The first slogan itself, Sukadev, sorry, Vyasadeva is saying that Janmadi Yesi Anvadam. So he is talking about Supreme Lord. It is like in the first sloka itself he is saying that Krishna is a Supreme Lord. That's what it is starting. He is talking about Lord only. So Krishna is a Supreme Lord. From that it is starting. So starting is Supreme Lord. And ending, what is the ending of Srimad Bagavatam? What is the last sloka of Srimad Bagavatam? What it is saying? Namama Kirtana Yasya something sloka. It is talking about Harinama Sankirtan, chanting of the holy name. That is the conclusion of Srimad Bhagavatam. So, we saw two. Bhagavad Gita, what is the starting? Atmanyan, and Supreme Lord is the conclusion. And Bhagavatam, where Bhagavad Gita ends, from there Srimad Bhagavatam is starting. Supreme Lord, Krishna is the Supreme Lord. From there it is starting, and it is ending with
Nama
Sankirtan. It will give you the, it will take you to the spiritual world. That is saying Nama Sankirtan is the topmost, like that Srimad Bhagavatam is ending. Then Chaitanya Charitamrita, how it is starting? Chaitanya Charitamrita starting with Nama Sankirtan. Nama Sankirtan, it is starting with Nama Sankirtan. And what it is, end of the Chaitanya Charitamrita? It is ending with Krishna Prema, the love of God, topmost. That is the topmost. So this is the connectivity of these three scriptures. So Bhagavad Gita, the starting from Atma, and it will take you to the Krishna Prema. It is the topmost knowledge. That is the reason these three scriptures, all three scriptures are connected. Like this, that's why our Acharya is connecting this. This is the topmost matured scriptures from Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, and Chaitanya Charitamrita. It's taking you to the Atmanyan, to Krishna Prema. So that is the reason we are reading all these things. Studying, we should not just read like a newspaper. Newspaper we will just read and we will close it. Whatever the news is coming, we will close it. But we won't get into the mind. Like we discussed, some news is coming means we will take it as a news and we will leave it. But this jnana, Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam and Chaitanya Charitamrita, all this jnana, we need to take, we need to study, and we need to apply in our life. Once we apply it in our life, we need to preach that to others. That is the Prabhupada's mission. So Prabhupada's soldiers means study, apply, and preach. So Krishna also saying, who are preaching my glories to others, they are more dear to me. We want to be more dear to Krishna, we need to preach. And before preaching, we need to apply in our life. First apply the application, then preach. That will be effective. Okay. So in that situation, if you are studying this properly, then we can come out from the dualities. What are the things we discussed? The dualities, many dualities we discussed in the past also. All the dualities we can come out. Even though there are so many things happening in front of our society, house, school, office, anywhere. We can come out, we can see that in the spiritual vision. We won't see in the material vision. So the material vision, if you want to avoid the material vision, you need to understand the spirituality. Understand the scriptures properly, then you can see everything as a spiritual. Around you, whatever is happening, everything is spiritual. Even though we are in the material world, we can see everything as connected with the spirituality. So if our mentality only on the material things, then we will see everything as a material. Okay. So if you want to change our vision, see the battlefield, Arjuna, so the Arjuna wanted to see the Vishwarupa of Krishna. So Krishna gave the spiritual vision. After that only he was able to see the Vishwarupa. So if you want to see the Lord, we need to wear the spiritual. So we need to have the spiritual glass. How we are wearing the specs. We need to have the spiritual specs. Then only we can see the Lord everywhere. We can see the Lord everywhere. That's what Prabhupada is saying. Prabhupada is saying, Prabhupada used to see Lord everywhere. Everywhere, everything became Lord for Prabhupada and overall the exalted devotees. So if you want to reach that position, we need to understand the scriptures, we need to study and apply the scriptures in our life so that We can gradually move into that position. Hare Krishna. Grandraj Srimad Bagavatam ki.
Jai.
Any questions? Any